Okay, welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. Those of you that follow me know that I do teach tarot as well privately. I will have some new classes scheduled for the early 2021. I will post on here and I will post it on my Facebook and also on my website when I start scheduling classes. I do them by Zoom. I also do private. I do them in a group, but I also do private lessons as well. This first video is number one. And I'm just going to go over like the care and feeding of your tarot cards. I'm not going to go into the history of tarot. There's a million videos on it. You can go see those someplace else. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, bore you guys with how they played card games and parlors and whatnot. But I wanted to share with you my original deck. I've been reading tarot since I was like 17. Like, I'm old now. I'm 50. So over 30 years of experience. My first deck is right here. And it's so funny because when I started reading online, I was like, you know what? The cards are a little bit, first of all, they're old. I don't even know if you can get this back anymore. But they're very old. And they, because of all the writing that's on them, I didn't think that they looked very professional. This is the handwriting of a 17-year-old Anna. Oh, I'm getting a shadow. I'm sorry about that. But basically when I don't even know why I started studying tarot. I had a boyfriend when I was in high school, and his mom was, she unfortunately has passed away, but she was really terrific. She was a psychotherapist, and she was into all kinds of non-traditional explorations of self. And there was a very, very small astrology shop in the town next to mine. And nice lady named Flo Higgins ran it. I don't know where she is these days. She was a bit older, so I don't know if she's still alive. But she was terrific. She was a great astrologer, tarot reader. But it was this funky little store. It had crystals, it had oils, it had all kinds of fun stuff, and it had tarot cards. So went in there one day with my pocket change from my silly little job and purchased this tarot deck. This is the most widely used. It is the Rider-Waite tarot deck. There is a great deal of Christian symbology in here, traditional symbology. There is a significant number of Freemasonry symbology in here too. One of the cautions that I do have for my students is to not necessarily get the book and start reading. One of the things that I see with my students a lot of the time is they know the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess, and maybe the Empress really, really well. And then they have no idea what everybody else means because they throw the book out. Not they throw the book out, but, you know, it's just, tarot is, it is an academic learning. You know, if you have intuitive ability, sometimes you can get bound up in the academic ability, in the academic learning of it. As you can see, there's oodles of notes on here. Every card has a bunch of different meanings. Then those meanings change by placement. It can get very, very overwhelming. One of the things you can see on my Ace of Swords, I don't know if it's going to read, but this has, if it's adjacent to the world, I don't even know what this says. Let me get my glasses. If it's adjacent to the world, I mean, literally you could write every single meaning on every single card. The world, consider help offered. The Hierophant, only go for one good stop. I don't even know. If it's near the wheel, it's feeling hopeless. You know, there's a lot of different meanings that you can attribute to each card. I have a very different way of telling my students to get involved in the cards. I think you should learn the academic meanings, absolutely. But I think you should understand the different components of the deck. you should get a good concept of what the suits mean, what the court cards mean, and certainly the major arcana. So we'll go a little bit further into that in this video as well. I want to keep these videos short, just so I don't bore the pants off you. I think I'm a good teacher. I hope that I am. So the tarot is made up of really 3 different parts. There's the major arcana, the suits, we call these the pips, and then we have the court cards. Some people include the court cards with the pips. When I get a new deck, what I like to do is I like to go through all of them just to see if they're based on the Rider-Waite, which is a very comprehensive deck, or if they have some different things in there. Some decks, you will find some specialized decks will have some really oddball cards in there, and they'll like completely depart from like the tower. The tower will look completely different. It'll be like a tidal wave. So, you know, I recommend that you stick with the Rider-Waite, or the Llewellyn deck is really, really good. I really do like the Llewellyn deck as well, but the Rider-Waite really is kind of the gold standard. There's the most written about it. There's a coloring book, which is really cool. You can order that off Amazon and get to know the cards that way if coloring is your thing. But, you know, the idea is that you need to get to know the cards. Now, I tell my students to do something called cocktail parting. We'll get to that as well. It's a neat way to learn the cards after you have like a basic academic understanding. So there's a lot that goes into them. When I first get a deck, you know, I flip through them first, and then I just hang out and shuffle my cards. I just shuffle them, and if you are tactily intuitive, you will feel the vibe, your own personal vibe, get in on the cards eventually. You'll know when they're ready. I know that sounds really stupid. It's like being in love. You know when you're in love. There's like no meter that says, hey, you hit love. There's no meter that says your cards are ready. There's different ways of getting the cards ready. Shuffling is one of them. One of the things I do too is I'll flip through the cards like this and blow. I get some air energy in there. I do that after my readings. I don't do it on my videos because that's weird. But I will also put my cards, you can't see I'm waving it through some incense right now, and that clears the cards too. This particular deck, when I got it, I anointed it with oil. Ooh, how about that? I'm not sure if I remember, but I'm a big fan of Dragon's Blood, so it probably was Dragon's Blood. But I anointed the deck with oil, and this deck has been kind of grimy on the edges ever since. So, again, it looks really old. A raven's upstairs barking. That's probably Santa Amazon delivering gifts. We're just a few days before Christmas, so I'll be posting these over the holiday to give myself a break. So, care and feeding of the cards, you know, shuffle them, make them yours. You can use some selenite. A brand new deck, you're not going to have to do this. Oh, and that's another thing. You can go on eBay and buy decks that are used. I don't recommend that. I don't think it's a good idea to buy somebody else's deck. It kind of feels like buying somebody else's underwear. I'm just saying, you know, you might feel differently. They're very inexpensive. You can get a really, really inexpensive deck off Amazon or in any of the shops. You can get a mini deck if you want to start out really, really cheap. My mini Rider-Waite, I think, was $7. It was really, really inexpensive. I mean, I have some decks that are really expensive. We'll get there. But get yourself a bag. Absolutely get a bag. Now, this is a very old-fashioned bag, and it does have a little tear in it. But this bag again, is a million years old, lined with silk. Has velvet on the outside. Nobody makes these anymore, as far as I can see, at a reasonable price. But you can, I'm sorry, I'm shuffling stuff around. You can get an unlined bag off Amazon. They sell these in bundles for like, I don't know, 14 bucks. You know, you get like 6 of them for like 14 bucks. The only problem, you know, for somebody like me, I have a million bags. They're all in the same color scheme. And so I have to put little tags on the deck so I know which are which. To go one step further, I do keep a box. I have a wooden box for the decks that I use the most, and they're just kind of lined up. I got that, just at a regular, craft store. It's fancy. It looks old. But you can use a basket. You can use anything like that. Keeping them in the little bag just keeps them together. You're not in the box. It just feels a bit more nice, just feels nice. So when you're doing readings, you should always do a circle of protection around yourself. You can use a piece of selenite like this, like a wand, woo, and you can cast a circle of protection around you. Anyone can read cards. Anyone can tap into their psychic ability. But you have to be careful. You want to make sure that you're tuning into the right channels. You want to make sure that if you're inviting anyone to give you messages, you want them to go away when you're done getting the messages from them. So you should cast a circle of protection. Selenite can work. You can, cast this just like a wand. I like to use my finger as well. Cast a big circle. I also breathe in and imagine the white light of heaven coming into me, and then I breathe out and I make a huge golden bubble around my house, my neighbors' houses, all around. One of the cautions for that, though, is that I've been doing that for a while here, and now our house doesn't come up on GPS. So I do have to give people directions to our house a little bit differently. They just can't get here by GPS. So, I created the Bat Cave here, which is fine. It's kind of a neat thing that I did, but it is what it is. But it is really important, and I protect my house and my neighbor's house and everybody that's around us, and our pets and our strays that are outside, and the flock of turkeys that come to visit, and the deer that come to the yard. I do want everybody to be protected. I don't want any bad vibes here. So that is important. I do recommend strongly that you take the time to cast a circle, protect yourself, and also calm yourself. It will help you relax, and you can get some messages that come in a little bit better. So there we go. When you're done with your reading, I shuffle the snot out of them as well, and then I will put them through some incense. I'm sorry if you hear noises. There's lots of stuff going on upstairs. It's Saturday. I have people home. So I will shuffle them. I will put them through some incense. I will put the selenite or another crystal on top of them. I have some amethyst. I have some regular quartz. It's important just to kind of get them to feel right. And I know, again, I know that sounds, really non-specific. But when you start working with them, you're going to know. And that's also another part of it. You're going to start to know what the different cards mean. So I've got two decks here. I've got my original Rider-Waite. And if I was teaching a class right now, I'd be like, does anyone have any questions? So if you have any questions, you can post them down below. I will certainly try and answer them in subsequent videos or in the comments. I will try and do that. If it's a really substantial question, I'll answer it in a video. But I will try and answer it in the comments. Okay, so I have the two decks. I've got the original Rider-Waite. This is the classic Rider-Waite deck, and I also have the Radiant Rider-Waite deck, which I didn't get very long ago. The reason why I got it is because it reads so much better online. So when I started doing readings online, I felt like this was a little bit unprofessional. I didn't want people to kind of struggle to see the imagery, especially if I made reference to the I don't know what the flower in his hand. Okay, there you go. I mean, it's pretty clear in both of these, but on the Knight of Wands, there is, the wands have a lot of salamanders in them. It's a fire energy. I don't want to confuse anybody at this point, but it's much easier to see on the Radiant Rider-Waite. But then, so I was reading with this, and then when I started doing lessons online instead of in person, I said, well, my students need some notes on here. So I used the little stickers. Yay, little stickers, because they're a little bit easier to read. So these are not all of the meanings to the cards. Now, if you are a student, or if you're just getting started, I do recommend the Radiant Rider-Waite. The book that comes with this deck is fantastic. Can't say it enough. It's fantastic. It's one of the best resources that I've ever seen. It's not confusing. It doesn't take you down some crazy path. It doesn't talk about all the stuff that goes on with tarot. It doesn't talk about the history. Well, it does a little bit. It's got some spreads in the back. But for the individual cards, they give you really solid meaning so that you can understand the deck and you can actually get to reading. You can study all day long. You're not going to start to really get a sense of the readings until you start reading. So, this'll help you launch. You can do some 3-card spreads and look up the meanings. You can ask different questions. It will absolutely help you. So I put some of the meanings on here. Now, there are cards that you're going to resonate with a different meaning from someone else. Okay. And this is where, you will see readers get comments on their YouTube that, oh, well, you read that card wrong. You read that card right. That's not what that means. I had someone do it to me with the pendulum. The cards have a lot of different meanings. And when you start to get into specialized decks, they have even more different meanings. So, you want to be careful of criticizing somebody. Now, like hard and fast rules. Okay. So aces, sorry. Ace of Swords. Swords are air signs. Okay. They're representative of air. It's a fast moving energy. The Ace of Pentacles represents earth, slow moving energy. And you can see I have south and winter on there. And for the cups, I have north, summer, water. Those are all going to help you out. Those are things that are not subjective. You're not going to have somebody go to task and say, oh, well, the cup means something else. The cup means earth. Like that you can't, we're not going to argue with that. That's not how it works. But the suits are going to lead you to the meaning. The cards will fall where they need to, and they will show you the way. So let's go through the parts of the deck. I'm sorry if this lesson's all over the place. I hope it's not. I'm used to people talking back to me. So Major Arcana. The Major Arcana, and this is something that a lot of the books don't tell you. The Major Arcana is a story. It is a story of creation, development, education, illumination, death, and then moving on to the next phase. It is the journey of the hero or the journey of the fool. I will do the entire journey in another reading, but the Major Arcana takes you through the path of life. And when you get the Major Arcana, that usually represents larger life issues, sometimes karmic issues. This is your footing of life. Okay, so if you get these are big things at hand. All right. We're going to put those over there. Pentacles. It's an earth element. So we have earth, fire, water, air. Okay. Our earth element is a slow moving element. When we get the pentacles, these are things that have to do with money, physical possessions, foundations of life, security, those things. Okay. It's earth, Think about that you're planted in the earth. We're planting seeds and moving forward. Then we have wands. Wands are a fire energy. They're very fast moving. Okay. The pentacles are winter. They represent winter. So that, I'm going to go back to this. Sorry, guys. The pentacles represent winter. So think of the seed that's planted in the ground and germinating through the winter. Think of that. Wands, summer, hot stuff. This is going out to clubs, having a good time, and trying to get some. You know, this is, it's not just sexual energy, but there is a great deal of sexual energy in them as well. Wands are phallic. Sorry, guys, but they are. So these are your endeavors, your enterprise, your passions, your work that you're trying to do. This is pushing through this creation. Fire is destructive, but it's also creation. Cups, emotions, female energy. When we get into the Thoth Tarot, you're going to see that the female suits, the female suits in the deck will be represented by princesses, not in this particular deck, which is very nice to have a little equality there. So cups represent spring. Think spring rain, and they are the emotions, relationships, disappointments, excitement, happy family, those sorts of things. And then we have the swords. Now, swords, in some of the books that you'll get, some of the academic books you get, swords come last. And so some people don't get a really good understanding of them. Swords are your intellect, truth, lies. This is an air element, fast moving. Okay, so we'll see these things and they'll be moving very, very quickly. Snap decisions. Now, moving on to our court cards. Page of Pentacles. These are our creators. I'm sorry. Our creators. Pages have the idea. Pages are very similar to aces, and that's why I laid all this out. Pages also are like the aces. They're the beginning of all things, okay? Our knights are questing. They are making things happen. They're the guys who take the idea and move forward. Queens are the ones that nurture it. Kings are the ones that rule over it. So they rule over foundations, money, page, knight, queen, wand. They rule over passions and ideas. This is the guy, this is the entrepreneur who gets the idea. This is the entrepreneur who goes out and gets the funding for it and starts building it. This is the lady who takes care of all the backroom stuff. And then this is the guy running the business. Again, this is just brief overview. There's a lot. This is just one layer of the onion. The page is someone who likes the girl. The knight is the one who goes and asks for her to go to the dance or asks for her hand in marriage. The queen is the relationship blossoming, and the king is confirmation of the relationship and longevity to it. So, again, these are just the vibe of the card. Page of Swords is guy who gets an idea to, with the swords, I get a lot of authors. Authors come up in the swords, which should be like a page of, should be like a page of wands, someone who has an idea for a story. But, the swords represent are really intellectual thinkers. So let's go into scientists. This is a guy who gets an idea. Oh, here's Elon Musk. We'll use Elon Musk. Gets an idea for an electric car. He puts together an idea, starts to build it. Now he's trying to sell it, and now he is refining the idea and ruling over it. So that is that. So these are our guys that are smart, thinkers, lawyers can fall into this. They're very bright, they're energetic. our pages are a little bit slow and methodical. I don't mean slow like intellectually slow, but slow and methodical. Or all of our pentacles are slow, methodical, very good counsel. These are people that are thinkers, but it may take a long time for them to get the idea out. The wands are dreamers. They're the ones that really have the unusual ideas that they're going to move forward. And our cups are our lovers, our sweet people. Now, of course, those things will change when we go into the upside down. When we turn those cards over, they have different meanings. We can get, it's not really the opposite. We'll talk a bit more about that later. So that's the basic gist of what our deck is built on. Now, we're going to talk about cocktail partying. When I tell my students to cocktail party, another way to clean out your deck, to kind of refresh it, is to actually put it in order instead of shuffling. So that's one way that you can kind of reset the energy in the deck, is just to cocktail party, or just to reorder it like I just did, put them into their piles. And this technique, what I'm doing right now, is called washing the deck. And you just put them on a table and smush them around. If you reorder them, sometimes you have to do this to really get them into a decent random order. So what we're going to do is we're just going to crack the deck open. Cocktail party your deck, you're going to just pull out a card. All right. We're going to put him in the upright. So here is my Knight of Cups. And I know a few things about him. I am at a cocktail party. I walk up to him. Oh, so funny. It was like I'm walking up to a cocktail party with a dude. So what does he tell you right away? When you're at a cocktail party, when you're at an event and you meet someone, initially when you are introduced to them, you get an impression. One of the things, here's a helpful hint, the speed of the suit will be represented by the horse that the knights are on. So you will take note of them. If you look at the Knight of Wands, his horse is up in the air, riding up. The Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, his horse is firmly planted in the ground. Our knight here is moving. Okay, he is moving forward. He has a very sweet look on his face, and his horse seems a little bashful, a little sweet. You want to take all of that into consideration. And then what you want to do is you want to go to your book. Again, read through the book the first time. Do your best. Don't try and memorize everything. You're never going to do it, and you're never going to wind up reading tarot, and you'll be really disappointed. Go to the book and read the definitions and see what jives with you. All right. So we've got our Knight of Cups there. And then I'm going to pull out my Knight of Cups. I have all of this ridiculous note on here. One of the things, there are traditional descriptions of this. Can represent someone with brown hair, hazel eyes, romantic, artistic. I get a lot of Pisces come up with the Knight of Cups. So look up some of the meanings, and the meanings on this, on my stickies on here, are from the Radiant Rider Waite. So expectations, chivalry, superiority, idealism. Then you can put your reverses on here: boastful, strain, dominating, force. For me, and some people, one of the gals that I work with, she thinks all the knights are a little bit shady. She's very uncomfortable with her knights. And that's okay. That's how she reads the cards. When you start to apply the meanings that resonate with you, the cards will come up as needed. You'd be very surprised. That's why when people take some of us to task in the comments and they're like, oh, you read that card wrong. Well, no, because I've been reading that card for 100 years that way. I don't find the knights in upright shady. She does, and that's okay. So that's how she reads them. I find the Knights in reverse very shady. These are stalkers. These are gaslighters. These are guys who are going to do a hit and run. These are the guys that don't call you the next day. And again, it does not have to be specific to men. Your knights can be women too. So, we do have the energy from that, coming through. Like, we don't just, women are not represented only by the queens. Sometimes women are represented by the knights. It gets a little bit deep and crazy as you start to learn, but you will eventually figure it out. So that's one of our cards, cocktail partying. Just to give you another idea, I should have done this earlier. Where is it? Where is my 7? There we go. So traditionally, and this is, you can always change your mind. Like you can read cards for 30 odd years, and then one card will actually change meaning for you. So I follow another reader on Facebook, Tarot by Andy, and she calls this card the gaslighting card. So I said, wow, that's kind of neat. Like, sometimes that can mean gaslighting. Like, watching her readings. So I started doing some readings, and specifically with people who are possibly gaslighters. And sure enough, this comes up as gaslighting. Now, do I read it gaslighting every single time I do a reading? Absolutely not. This can also be dazzled by choices, multiple opportunities, different avenues that you can go down. This can be a good card. It can be a bad card. That's where your intuition is going to start to kick in and start to take you in different directions. So, that is all I'm going to say about my intro to tarot today on this reading. If you have comments, you can comment below. If you have questions, put them below. I will gladly answer them. But welcome to this crazy world of tarot if you're just getting started. And if you want recommendations for the deck, I think I can send you a link or something like that in the comments. So have a great day. Happy learning. Happy taroting.